This program is sponsored by the Rad Law Firm and features legal questions from viewers. Nothing in the program establishes attorney-client privileges. Got a question about the law? Well, now's your chance, North Texas. Get ready to ask the lawyer.
Well, good Wednesday afternoon and welcome to Ask the Lawyer. I'm your host, Brenda Teal, here to answer your legal questions today. Our personal injury attorneys, Manuel and Daryoush Toofanian from the Rad Law Firm. Just call the number that you see on your screen. It's 1-888-887-9521 or email your question to askthelawyer@radlawfirm.com. It's your chance to get an answer for free from the experts.
That's right.
All right, so pick up the phone call right now if you do have a question, 888-887-9521. Kevin has a question from Dallas. Go ahead, Kevin.
When I was at the grocery store, I slipped on a wet floor and injured my wrist. There were no signs up that say caution. What are my options?
All right, thank you for your question.
Well, Kevin, there's about 3 things that you can do if you slip and fall in a grocery store. One of them is to do absolutely nothing, which I do not recommend, especially if you feel like you've been hurt. So there's do nothing and seek medical attention. There's try to handle it yourself, which I also don't recommend because the grocery store is much better at processing and handling those claims and denying those claims and putting you behind the 8 ball before the case even starts than you are. And the third thing you can do is call a lawyer, which is what I suggest, because that's what we do all the time. There's no grocery store that's too big. We've probably sued the likes of Walmart and Target hundreds of times in the past couple of years, and we normally win. So what I would do is I would call 888-887-9521 or email askthelawyer@radlawfirm.com and let us know what your rights are in that regard.
And I would venture to say that first option is not really an option, to do nothing. We got to do something.
You really got to do something because you know, you say your wrist hurts. What if something's broken? Right. What if you have ligament damage? If you wait too long, these claims can be barred by a statute of limitations. You really got to do something, and I certainly don't suggest trying to do something on your own. I suggest calling a lawyer or calling us. All
right, the number to call right now is 888-887-9521. Time for our first emailed question. This one's from John in McKinney. John writes, how much time do I have to file a suit for product liability after an accident happens? What do you think, Manuel?
Brenda, this is an easy one. Generally in Texas, anybody has a claim 2 years from the date of the accident. So if somebody's hurt, make sure that something happens within 2 years.
Going back to your other, there's a, what's the time limit on a lawsuit like the one that we just heard about if you slip and fall?
That is also 2 years, Brenda.
2 years on both.
2 years from the date that you fell.
Okay, very good. 888-887-9521. The phone lines are open right now. If you're not able to get through, please keep trying. Charlotte from Fort Worth is on the line right now. Go ahead with your question.
Yes, I want to sue my employer for sexual harassment, but I'm afraid of retaliation. Can you help me?
I would imagine that's a common feeling. What do you think?
Absolutely. Charlotte, you need to decide whether the harassment has reached a level that you'd be willing to sacrifice your job to bring the claim. It's not unusual, it's not uncommon for employees to lose their jobs when they file these types of claims, but that can be added to your elements of damages, that is your lost wages that you have suffered by virtue of not being able to work because you were fired. There's a whole host of claims, and it can get pretty complicated regarding retaliation, but sexual harassment certainly is actionable, and it's something that shouldn't be tolerated in the workplace, and sometimes it is. So if you value your job so much that you can deal with the harassment and you don't want to lose your job, maybe that's something you need to consider. But I think the more prudent choice is to go ahead, assert your rights, get out of there, stop being harassed. And if you get fired, you get fired. You go seek the lost wages in the claim or the lawsuit that arises.
What is the protection against retaliation?
Well, in Texas, we're in a right-to-work state, so you can hire and fire people for pretty much any reason that you want to. There are some forbidden reasons. I can't fire you for race-related reasons, religion, gender, age. I can't fire you for some things you might not know, such as filing a workers' comp claim. There's a lot of people that they file a workers' comp claim, they get fired, that's illegal. But generally, your employer can hire you and fire you for any reason that they really want to, except for a class of forbidden reasons.
All right. If you've got a legal question, give us a call. 888-887-9521 is the number. Karen in Garland writes, your website says no case is too small. How can I know you're doing what you're doing to devote the same energy to my small claim as a large one?
And I can take this one, Brenda. This is a great question. I started out my practice at a really large law firm where I billed by the hour, and everything I did was accounted for. And I don't like that type of practice because I think that the client and the lawyer don't have the same goal, right? If I'm billing by the hour and the client is paying me by the hour, The idea is, at least the client thinks the idea is that we want it to be as long as it can take because we're billing by the hour, so the lawyer makes more money. We have a completely different system in personal injury. We do not charge unless we win the case. So we have to be selective as to the type of cases we take. So we charge on a percentage. The beauty of that system is that we recover when the case wins or when the case settles. So the goal is the same. The client and I have exactly the same goal. We want to win the case, and we want to do it in an efficient way. So we don't want to drag it out. If the client wins, the lawyer wins. So each case is going to be handled exactly in the same way.
Winning is motivation enough because you don't get paid unless you win.
Absolutely.
I feel good with that. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. The number to call is 888-887-9521. We're going to take a quick break and come back and answer a few more of your questions. You're watching Ask the Lawyer. Good afternoon and welcome back to Ask the Lawyer. I'm your host, Brenda Teal. Here to answer your legal questions today are personal injury attorneys Manuel Green and Daryoush Toofanian from the Rad Law Firm. Just call that number that you see on your screen. It's 1-888-887-9521 or email your question to askthelawyer@radlawfirm.com. We've got a phone call for you guys. You ready for this one?
Ready.
All right, it's from Donna in Arlington. Go ahead, Donna.
Yes, I was hurt on the job, and I had the MAR and everything done. And once I had the MAR done, the job is trying to say now that my injury is due to my age and not to the injury on the job. And my question is, what can I do? What can you do to explain it to me, to help me?
Okay, thanks, Donna. Can they do that to her?
Well, they can't, but they do. They do it all the time. The insurance company that probably is controlling this claim on behalf of her employer or the Human Resources Department is going to do anything it can to pay the least amount of money and try to relate her on-the-job injury to anything but the whatever it was that caused her injury on the job.
But it's not the company's money, it's the insurance company's money.
Well, it depends. It could be, or it could be either way. Sometimes there's a workers' comp carrier, sometimes there's an employee injury benefit plan, but the best thing to do is to call us immediately. We get to the bottom of that. We'll figure out, we'll take them to task. We're not going to let them, call the shots and say, well, you're hurt because you're old. You're hurt because you're hurt on the job.
Wow. All right, 888-887-9521. The phone lines are open right now. If you don't get through right away, please keep trying. We've got Don now from Irving with us. Go ahead, Don.